Good morning. Good morning, Rabotai. Welcome back to Breakfast on the Class. Breakfast on the Class is dedicated by Josh and Ayelet Isaac in loving memory of Josh's grandmother, Marie Isaac, Lunishmat Miriam Bat Leah, whose first Azkara was on Chavtet Tevet. Breakfast on the Class is dedicated in honor of his mother, Chayil Bat Sarah's birthday, from her son Aviel. She is the greatest example of an Heshech Chayil that Hashem has blessed my brothers and I with. Her unwavering dedication to Hashem throughout the most difficult moments shines a light in the lives of everyone in our home, just as the Shabbat candles do. I love you so much. You are our light. What a magnificent message. Chazak Baruch Aviel, for honoring your mother in this way. Shh. Breakfast on the Class dedicated for the safe and prompt return of the hostages. Be'ezat Hashem, with heartfelt wishes for their recovery and well-being. Blessings, Joel and Avi Oster. Chazak Baruch. Deluxe Breakfast on the Class dedicated in loving memory of Gerald Schaefer. Lilui Nishmat Zelik Noah Bat Sarah Yosef Alav Shalom. Zelik Noach, sponsored by his son Philippe Schaefer. Chazak Baruch. Tenishmatot Tzura B'Tzura Hayim. Also dedicated in loving memory of Chafika Kastika. Lilui Nishmat Chafika Bat Badia. Dr. Victor Zaki Fariwa's sister. Sponsored by Jackie and Scotty. Chazak Baruch. Also dedicated loving memory, Lunishmat Yafai Estaban Rachel, sponsored by the Sayed family. And sponsored by Yehuda and Gabi Chalu, Simanto Mabruk, to Yosef and Danielle Chalu, on the birth of their beautiful, healthy baby boy. May he be raised in a loving Jewish home surrounded by only Semachot. Chazak Baruch. Also sponsored by Yaakov Shirazi, the Rosh Chodesh King. On the occasion of Rosh Chodesh Shivat, Latzachah B'Kol Mikol Kol, for success in everything. For the Refuah Shema V'Eliashim Mazar Fortuné, and the continued health of Chana Batzim Afega. The learning for this week is dedicated by Torah Center Diamond donor Aaron Levayev. In loving memory of Nishmat Yochanan Yura, Bat Sarah Istat, Alav Shalom. And this year of Breakfast on the Class dedicated to Nishmat Ruth Orfali Bat Adela, sponsored by her family. In loving memory of Sarah Newman's father Lou Stern, Nishmat Elazar Gedalia Ben Yechiel Lechana Leah from Montreal, in honor of his 50th yard site, sponsored by Sari Newman and family. By Emmanuel Zara in honor of Ben Chordipur for his dedication to learning and advancing in Torah studies. Only good news ahead. Chazak Baruch. Where's Manu? And finally, Rabotai, we just want to wish, of course, as the hostages are being released in drips and drabs, we want to wish each and every one of them the most painless and the most issue-free reintegration. One of the challenges, of course, when it comes to a hostage returning to Israel, is that we forget that although they're back home, a huge part of them will never, ever, ever leave captivity. And it is a disaster to be able to overcome such a traumatic experience. We want to wish, of course, their families as well a return to a healthy, balanced, normal life. For many people, their entire life has been on hold. Their brothers, sisters, parents, boyfriends, husbands, wives. It's very, very difficult. And to reintegrate now into society, go back to work, when all day long, every day, all you've been thinking about and campaigning for is their release, is very difficult. Today is another beautiful day. We've had the release of a few more hostages. Hashem should bless us to be able to see the return of each and every one of them on this great day on Rosh Chodesh. Should be a sign of tremendous beracha, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu should remember, like the pasuk says, Ani Hashem, Ne'eman Nishalem Sachar Tov, to give good reward to those who do good, and as well to give payment and just recompense to all those that have done terrible acts of murder and of crime. Hashem should bless us to be able to recognize that the ones that we were forced to release should never be empowered and never have the ability to hurt another person for the duration of their life. If that requires a change of heart, let it be a change of heart. If that requires an incapacitation of the person to whatever point is necessary, may God visit it upon those people. And no human being should ever take it within their power to be able to willingly cause pain or suffering, needless pain or suffering to another person from whatever background they come from. Be'ezrat Hashem. We also cannot not mention the terrible tragedy that we witnessed yesterday in our state's capital of a plane going down after colliding with the Black Hawk. Sometimes we have people and pain that happens on purpose, and sometimes we have terrible tragedies that come out of nowhere. People get on a tiny flight, a flight that should be an hour, and they think that I'll be there, honey, I'll be there by 8. They already have dinner plans. What a disaster it is. It behooves us when we see these things to remember the fragility of life and to promise ourselves that we're not going to waste one more second of our lives on silly things, and that we'll do the things that we would do if we knew that all we had was one more day upon this earth. Who would you call? What would you do? What would you reverse? My friends, I want to draw your attention to a one-word instance in the parasha. It's a word that comes all the way at the end of the Jewish people's saga in Egypt. It comes as the Jewish people finally are sitting there witnessing the 10th plague come to the Mitzrayim. It's the death of the firstborn. A horrific night. A night of terrible calamity for the Egyptians. And actually the final brick being shattered, the final straw being broken in the Jewish people's servitude and suffering. Well, finally, after all of this, Pharaoh comes running through the streets of the city of Mitzrayim. He can't believe what has happened to him. And he screams on the top of his lungs, Tzeh. But I want to just read you the pasuk where we finally hear these words come out of Pharaoh's mouth. Vayakom Paro Lailahu v'chol avadav v'chol Mitzrayim v'tihi tza'aka gedola Mitzrayim. There was a great shout in Egypt. Ki en bayit asher en shamet. There wasn't a single home that didn't have a death that happened on that night. Vayikra Moshe Aaron Laila v'yomer Kumu tzeu mitoch ami. Leave from amongst my nation. Gam atem, gam bnei Israel. You, the entire people, the old, the young, the men, the women, the children, everything that I've told you to hold back, take it all. Ulechu ivdu et Hashem. Go serve God kidaberchem. Gam tzonechem, gam bekarchem. Take your animals. Kasher dibatem valechu uberachtem gam oti, and just give me a bracha on your way out, because Pharaoh himself was an Egyptian. Well, that word, tzeu, leave this place. If you look, it says there's a little note on the side that tzadi is digusha. It has a dot in the middle of the tzadi. Tzeu, leave. What does that dot indicate? Number one, every time you have a dagesh, it indicates that there's an emphasis on the letter that it's in. Tzeu, Al-Chachamim tell us that not only was there an emphasis in this word, but also it was so loud that this word tzeu is expressed in the pasuk. It says, leave you and all of the people Asher Mitzrayim. But it tells us something very interesting about this scream, this V'tihi tza'aka gedola Mitzrayim. Our rabbis tell us that word tzeu, when he screamed those 3 letters, not 2 letters, tzeu, leave my place, it echoed and reverberated all throughout Mitzrayim. Now, I want to take the opportunity to just think about what this means. This scream, leave, get out. What was so important about this one word that Pharaoh says? Of course, all that Moshe has been asking for from the beginning is to let the Jews go. And what does he say now? He says, go, leave. But the fact that it's echoing all throughout Egypt, that God amplified Paro's voice to the point that it could be heard everywhere. It's trying to communicate to us a very powerful lesson. And I want to express it by way of something very weird that happened to me this morning. Last night, I got home very late. I've been flying. I would have stopover on the way back from Israel. The flight was at 6 a.m., so we had to be in the airport at 4, which means we had to leave Yerushalayim at 3. So there's no real point in even going to sleep. I went to the Kotel at midnight. I prayed for some people I wanted to pray for. Chatzot at the Kotel, very special. Right? I got home, finished packing. I know if you go to sleep, you're not waking up, you're not catching the flight. So didn't sleep the whole night. Got to the airport, took the flight to Amsterdam, stopover 4 or 5 hours in Amsterdam, arrive here at 5 o'clock. I had scheduled mistakenly to speak at an event. So I went directly from the airport. I tried to stop in some Bukharian synagogue in Queens to just change into a suit and tie, but it was closed. Instead of saying Or HaTorah, it says OP HaTorah, I guess in the Russian spelling, right? Opta HaTopa, or whatever it was, right? So I couldn't even I went straight to the event, and I changed in the bathroom over there, little super rabbi action, right? And I went there. By the time I got home, I was so exhausted. I just fell into bed, out cold like a light. I didn't even plug my phone in. Now I need my phone to record the shiur. And the shiur is not a short one, and recording is not something, small on the battery of the phone. So I need to make sure it was charged up. I look at the phone, what do I have left? 1%. Okay. How many of you, be honest, have done this? Your phone's about to die, but you're going out. So you plug your phone in for the 1 minute right? Has anyone ever here done that? You plug your phone in for the 1 minute, like from when you noticed until you finish putting your coat on, and then you unplug it. I plug my phone in my bathroom for 1 minute. Why didn't you let yadayim? I take the phone off of the charger after 1 minute. I look down, the phone's at 100%. And because of this, I have dedicated, a new holiday called Hanukkah. All right, and I'm looking at it, it's like, this is impossible. I'm like playing with the phone, leaving the app, 100% in 1 minute. From 1. I don't know, some sort of glitch in my phone. By the time I got to shul, 55. This is why the Syrians are very scared of the number 5. Right? 55. I plugged my phone in, I turned it off, I plugged the phone in, and now already it recognizes, after the battery dies, and the phone's off, and I plugged it back in, now already the battery realizes, what does it really have in it? 0. Okay? So I plug it during Shacharit, and now I have enough, hopefully, to be able to have this class. And I was thinking to myself, because this is what rabbis do. Immediately, whenever anything happens, your mind immediately takes it and transforms it into Torah, into life lessons, into messages from Hashem. And I just wanted to share with you what I thought, or one of the messages that I thought are relatable and related to this idea. A lot of times, as human beings, we push ourselves to great lengths. And we believe that we've charged ourselves enough and that our batteries are at 100%. But we haven't given ourselves enough time to get over something. And we haven't given ourselves enough, healing to be able to forgive truly. And we're not ready to take on a mitzvah of that level. But there are times when a person believes, they look at their screen, they look at themselves, and they think that they're at 100%. And really, no matter what you do, it says 100%. I'm smiling, no bags under my eyes. I'm good, right? I'm okay. I'm good to go. I'm ready to get married again after someone broke my heart. I got divorced, nightmare situation. I'm ready to date next day. No, you're not, honey. Sit down. Don't hurt yourself. Sit on the side, okay? A lot of times a person loses their job. What do? They don't take any time whatsoever. They just jump into immediately the next job. Oftentimes, That decision is not driven by logic. It's the right place to go, right position to take, right salary to negotiate. There's a desperation. I can't not have a job. I need to get something right away. And they make a bad choice. And when you tell them, maybe you should take a minute. No, I'm good. Yeah, just a show of hands. Anyone here have a person in their life that is perennially good? That whenever anything happens, no, I'm fine. Anyone here have a fine or good person in their life? Yes? Yes, I think everybody has one of those, right? I think those people are this phone, are this concept. This mistaken idea that I plugged in for 1 minute and that's enough. What's fascinating about Paro is that Paro is exactly the same way. He knows when he's beaten. He's ready to let the Jews go after the Makkah happens. But how long does it take for him to think to himself, I'm good? The Pasuk tells us that the minute after he begs on his knees Moshe to go pray for him and to go save Egypt, Moshe goes and he prays. Vayar Paro, and Paro sees that the Sephardim were taken away. Paro, not the Sephardim, you racist Ashkenaz. No, okay, yeah, the Sephardim. He sees. He sees. I'm only joking if you can't see my face on the audio. He sees that the Shechin is gone. He sees that the Barad is gone. What does Paro say? I'm good. Double down on where I was before. I love this idea that there comes a moment where Paro screams, Tze'u, leave, with all of his power. It's amplified throughout all Egypt. What does it mean it's amplified throughout all Egypt? One way of understanding it is that his scream permeated every corner of the country. And Hashem made Ram Kol for Paro to be able to go and give a foghorn level tze'u that everybody heard. That's one way of understanding it. But maybe there's another concept over here. The decision, the scream, the ratzon, get out of our country, was so pronounced, it was so loud, it was so agreed upon. Paro had such a mandate to do it, that scream of tze'u, where did it come from? It came from every household. It came from every Egyptian. A lot of times, pain is not coming at us. Pain is not attacking us. Pain is not surrounding us. You know what's happening? You know what's happening? I don't know if you've ever seen this before. Have you ever seen someone's jacket get caught in a car door? Yeah, ever saw that? You ever see a car start driving away while the person, his jacket's caught in the car door? Anyone ever see that? Terrifying. So you have some people who do the smart thing. What do? They bang on the door of the cab immediately stops. Then you have some people, I don't know what they're thinking. They just start running with the car. Ever see that? Now the guy still doesn't see you. You're in his blind spot. But now you're running with the car. What is the plan here? Sherlock, help me understand. What is the next move in this chess game? You're going to run 50 miles an hour with the car wherever he goes for the rest of the day. Maybe just knock on the door, right? Now could you imagine if instead of having your jacket stuck in the door, which you might panic and not do something so logical and run with the car. Imagine if your hand was holding the handle. Oh no, he's driving. What's the answer? Just let go. Just let go. Look at this man. Look at this man. Holding on to the Jews is literally cratering, destroying every facet, every experience, every element of living in Mitzrayim. And what's Paro doing? It's not that he has no option. We've given you the option so many times. But he can't let them go. The funny thing about most people's pain, I don't want to say everybody, because not everybody, but the funny thing about most people's pain is the pain is not attacking them and the pain is not holding them. The hostages were being held, right, by their pain. They had no option. But there's lots of people whose pain is something that they're literally holding on to, and they won't let it go. And they won't just open their hands. What does it take for Paro to not be in pain? For the Egyptians to not suffer the consequences anymore? What does it take? Nothing. All you have to do is stop holding on to them. So I always think to myself of this Paro running around like the guy holding onto the cab, screaming, please leave, let me go, stop with this. Honey, you don't need to do anything. My friends, oftentimes, the challenge happens in a person recognizing that it is not the pain that's keeping them in this loop. It's them that's not willing to let go of that pain. It's them not willing to admit that something has run its course. And at this point, all they're doing is holding on. You have people who 10 years after something happens, tell you, telling me about this other guy, and I'm like, that other guy, he has not thought about you in 10 years. He has not thought about this issue in 10 years. What advantage is there for you to be holding on to this still? To the point that when you see me, the first thing you want to remind me about is how this situation caused you so much damage. Tzeu. Leave. I find that this concept of tzeu is something that people all the time could benefit from. And this is just a meditation. Okay? There's an interesting Kabbalistic thing that people say when a woman is in labor. It's a pasuk that person's supposed to say many times. Al pi Kabbalah, it's tzeh ata v'chol Hashem, right? Leave you and all. It's a pasuk that people say when the baby is being born, that the baby should be born b'sha'ah tova u'mutzlaha, that the pregnancy and the delivery should go in a nice way. And I was just thinking, imagine if a person could sit down in his or her life and look at these things that are in their life and just scream on the top of their lungs, tzeu, just go. But the funny thing with Paro is that it's almost as if he's taken the keys to his pain and he's handed it to the Jewish people. What did he need to do in order for them to leave? Nothing. You're screaming at me to leave, but you're the one who wouldn't let me. Does that happen in relationships? Absolutely. I think passive-aggressive is this dichotomy of tzeh. You're screaming at the person to leave, but at the same time unwilling to do so in a way. And I don't mean leave. It's not a zero-sum game, married, divorced. We are always either coming towards a relationship or leaving a relationship. It's a spectrum, right? That's all it is. Absolute love, zero whatsoever, and you're sliding back and forth. Passive-aggressive is this element. Don't we find this idea of tzeu when it comes to growing, to growth? Have you ever been angry at your anger? So mad that I lost my temper and I ruined that whole situation. I can't believe what are you doing? Tzeu. But you're telling me tzeu, and where's the keys? In your pocket. Paro acts as if the keys to his suffering in the pocket of the Jews. Meanwhile, just open the gates, dude. We're ready to go. Now we're going to leave. Could you, after 210 years, could you give us 6 hours to pack? No? Okay, we'll just grab the one thing we need to take with us. Dough. It's crazy. I think of this also. when people are in business opportunities, when they're stuck in a job that they have no place being in. You could leave at any time. I mean, it's funny, in New York State, I think they changed this idea that you can't contractually, if you sign a contract to work somewhere for a year, right? There's no contract that could force you to work out that year. Did you know that? I did not know that. You have to give however much time notice that you're going to leave, but there's no job that could lock you into a job contractually to the end of that contract. I did not know that. Sorry? It's at will. You could decide to leave, and then whatever, there's a law of how much termination you have to give, and there's obviously penalties if you're not keeping that, but no one can hold you. You're in a marriage. You're kvetching and kvetching and kvetching. Look, if you're going to leave, leave. But if you've not left, you're here. You hold those keys. You're in a relationship with somebody. You're deciding whether or not you want to go forward, you want to get married. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Anyway, in my mind, I just have this image of Pharaoh in his pajamas running around Egypt going, leave, leave, leave. I don't know exactly, it sounds like Adam Sandler in my mind. Leave, he's screaming everywhere he's running to let them, I just imagine the Jews like pulling apart their curtains and like, what is wrong with that guy? But that guy is also, it's also us, our stubbornness, our oref, our paro also causes us to not let go of situations that are causing us pain. And primary and chief amongst that is the fact that if that's the case, and it's not about not letting go, who's the one causing us that pain? That to me is just the most magnificent release from slavery of all types in a person's life. And I want to give one last example before I close. Yeah, if someone is hurting you with their words, you're getting very upset, you're getting nervous, you're getting anxious, you're getting angry. I want you to remember this concept. The only reason why those words are hurting you, that behavior is hurting you, is because you give those words and those actions validity. You let them mean something, so they mean something. If you knew that they did not mean something, that they meant nothing, would they hurt you? They wouldn't. So what is hurt? What is this hurt that a person is experiencing? It's volunteering to feel hurt. It's allowing myself to be in a situation where I'm able to get hurt. I'm going to give you again this visual. Imagine someone with a stick, blind. He's walking. He starts screaming at you. He's like, yo, you're like, me? He's like, yes. You think you take advantage of me just because I'm blind? What kind of terrible person are you? How were you raised? You're like, I'm sorry, what? How could you do that? Steal money from a blind man? You're a terrible person. You have no moral values. Now, I might be embarrassed because someone's yelling at me in public. But are his words hurtful if actually he's not talking about me? He must have me confused with somebody else. Oh, that's what everyone says. They like to take advantage because I'm blind. Rohi, I never met you before in my life. I don't know who you are. You're just yelling at me. Now, maybe you want the guy to stop yelling because that's embarrassing. But is the content of his words, does it land at all with you? No, you know he's talking about someone else. And why is he yelling at you? Because he can't see. Imagine you could apply that visual to the people that hurt you in your life. I'm not saying that this allows them to get away with it. I'm not saying that this justifies what they've done. They've done a terrible thing. They're really mean, etc. et al. But those words, someone telling you that you're incompetent, someone telling you that you're nasty, someone telling you that you're mean, someone telling you that you don't have an ethical, moral compass. When you know inside yourself your own value, you just attribute it to that guy being blind. And if you allow those words to penetrate your shell, then what have you done? You're crying why someone is causing you pain when the one causing you pain is yourself, by sitting there with the door open while it's pouring rain and then wondering why it's getting wet inside. Shut the door. This Paro that runs around yelling at everyone too, he's a lot more common than you think. We get to meet this Paro in others all the time. We get to meet Paro in ourselves some of the time. Well, at the very least, let's learn his lesson and recognize when things are indeed beyond our control, and when we have the opportunity, the power, and the ability to be able to protect ourselves from that pain, from that